You will not remember this day, but you lived it. Every small, ordinary, perfect moment of it. This is the last morning Pompeii ever had, and it begins the way all mornings do. Quietly. You wake before the sun. Not because of noise, not because of light. Your body simply knows. It has always known. After 20 years of this work, your eyes open in the dark at the same moment every morning, without fail. A baker's clock lives in the bones. The room is dark and still. Your wife breathes beside you, slow and deep. You do not wake her. You never do. This hour belongs to you and the oven and nothing else. You sit up. The stone floor meets your feet and the cold moves through you like water. You have felt this cold 10,000 times. You do not flinch. You reach for your sandals without looking, fingers finding the leather straps by memory alone. You stand. The street outside is silent. Through the small window you can see the sky, still ink black, no pink at the edges yet. Good. You have time. You always need just a little more time than you think. You pull your tunic over your shoulders, splash water on your face from the clay bowl by the door. The water is cold enough to hurt. You are grateful for it. There is something about this hour that belongs only to the people who choose it. The city is asleep. The world is yours. Not forever. Just for now. You take a breath. You open the door. The street is narrow and smooth beneath your feet. You know every stone of it. That raised edge near old Gaius's wall, where the cartwheel cracked the paving 3 winters ago. The slight dip in the middle where rain collects. The worn groove worn into the threshold of your own bakery door, carved by years of feet passing over it, including yours, including your father's before you. The air smells of night and stone and very faintly of the sea. Pompeii sits close enough to the coast that on mornings like this, when the wind is right and the city is quiet, the salt reaches you. You have always loved that smell. Your father told you it meant the gods were awake. You are not certain you believe in the gods the way your father did, but you believe in that smell. A cat watches you from a doorway. Just the eyes, 2 pale coins in the dark. You have seen this cat before. It lives somewhere between your street and the forum, belonging to no one and everyone. You nod at it as you pass. The cat blinks once and looks away. The bakery is 3 doors from your house. You chose it that way on purpose, close enough to walk without waking fully, far enough that the heat of the ovens does not follow you home to bed. Your father thought it was too close. Your wife thinks it is too far. You think it is exactly right. You reach the door. The door is old wood, dark with years of smoke and handling. Its hinges are iron and they have sung the same note since before you were born. You know the sound so well, you no longer hear it. But this morning, in the perfect silence before dawn, the hinge speaks and the sound moves through the empty street like something alive. You have opened this door perhaps 10,000 times. It has never once opened easily. It has never once failed to open. This is what you ask of a door. The bakery breathes out heat the moment you step inside. The fire from yesterday has not died completely. It never fully dies. There are coals at the base of the oven, dull red, patient, waiting. You know how to read them. These are good coals. They held through the night the way old things hold, quietly and without display. You add the wood, not too much. A baker's first act of the morning is a conversation with the fire, not a command. You feed it slowly, watching the flame catch and climb. The oven is round and deep, built into the back wall, plaster worn smooth from decades of heat. The smoke rises into the vent above, and the room begins to warm. While the oven builds, you start the dough. The flour is in large clay jars along the left wall. You have measured it 10,000 times and you no longer measure. Your hands know the weight. You scoop and pour, and your hands are already white before you have thought about it. The trough is wooden, old, darkened with use. Your father's hands shaped dough in this same trough. His father's before him. Water next. Not too cold, not warm. You test it with your wrist, the way your mother taught you when you were small enough to need a step to reach the trough. The water feels right. You pour it in and begin. The kneading is the work of the whole body, your shoulders, your arm. The heels of your hands pressing and folding and pressing again. The dough pushes back. It always does. This is the thing people do not understand about bread. It resists. It must resist. Dough that gives easily makes poor bread. You need the resistance. You work against it and the resistance becomes strength. Your hands are white with flour. Your back is beginning to warm. The fire is building. The sky outside the high window is still dark, but slightly less so. This is what the start of a day feels like. Every day. This exact feeling. You work the dough, and the dough works back, and this is the oldest conversation in the world. Marcus arrives just as the sky begins to pale. He is 16 and still carries the slightly stunned look of someone not quite certain how mornings happen this early. His hair is always crooked in one direction when he arrives. You have never mentioned this. You were the same at his age. Your master told you, and you believe it. He stops in the doorway and takes in the oven, the dough, the flour on your hands. You started without me, he says. Not an accusation, just an observation. He has been saying this every morning for 2 years. The bread does not wait for you, you say. This is also something you say every morning. He ties his apron and comes to the second trough. His movements are more certain now than when he began. The first month, he wasted flour. He pressed too hard, not hard enough, could not read the dough. And now he presses and folds with something close to confidence. Not your confidence, his own, which is better. You work in silence mostly. This is something you both understand. The early morning is not for talk. It is for bread. But Marcus sometimes asks questions. He is curious in the way young people are curious when they have finally found a thing they care about. He wants to know not just how, but why. Why this flour, and not that one? Why this temperature, this amount of water, this length of kneading? You answer when you can. Sometimes the answer is, because my father did it this way, and his bread was good. This is also an answer. A good apprentice is a kind of mirror. You see yourself at 16 in the way his hands move, the mistakes you no longer make, the confidence you have forgotten learning. You do not tell him this, but you are grateful for it. The first loaves go into the oven just as the sun clears the rooftops. You shape them by hand, each one. Round loaves, slightly flattened, scored across the top with a blade so the steam can escape and the bread rises evenly. You have made this shape 10,000 times. Your hands make it without instruction. The oven is the right temperature. You can tell by holding your hand near the mouth for a count of 3. Hot enough to pull away. Not hot enough to burn immediately. This is the window. This is what you work toward every morning. The loaves go in on the long, flat wooden paddle, one at a time. You slide them to the back where the heat is most even. The oven takes them and the door comes down, and now the bread belongs to the fire for a while. This is the moment that used to frighten you as a young baker, and the moment you could no longer do anything. You had prepared everything correctly, and now it was out of your hands. Now you find it peaceful. You clean the trough. You prepare the next batch. You check the fire. You do the small necessary things that fill the gap between the dough going in and the bread coming out. This is the rhythm of the trade. You have lived inside this rhythm for 20 years, and it has become indistinguishable from breathing. The smell begins. Bread baking has a smell that does something to people. You have watched it your entire life. A customer coming to the counter while bread is in the oven stops before they mean to. Their face changes. Something in them softens. You have never found the right word for what it does, this smell. It is not simply pleasant, it is something older. It is the smell of being fed, and of warmth, of a place that is safe. You have made this smell every morning for 20 years. It has never lost its power over you. You still stop sometimes in the middle of work and simply breathe it in. This is not weakness. This is what it means to love your work. The first loaves are almost ready. You can hear them in the oven, a faint crackling as the crust forms, the sound of bread becoming bread. By the time the first customers arrive, the street outside has come alive. Pompeii wakes in layers. First the bakers and the fishmongers and the people who keep the fires. Then the shopkeepers pulling aside the wooden shutters that close their stalls overnight, arranging their goods, calling to each other across the narrow street. Then the foot traffic begins, the slow build from a person here and there to the full press of the morning market. You know most of the faces. You have fed most of them for years. The old woman who comes for the same 2 small loaves every morning and counts out her coins with great care. The soldier from the garrison who stops on his way to duty and eats standing at your counter because he says he has no time to sit, though you notice he always lingers. And the children from the house on the corner who are sent with a basket and always arrive already a little hungry. You give the children slightly more than they are sent to buy. You have done this since they were smaller. Their mother knows and says nothing. This is a kind of agreement without words. The morning moves at its own speed. It cannot be hurried. Bread comes out of the oven and hands reach for it. Coins cross the counter. People stand a moment in the warmth and the smell, and then they go on into their days. You take their money and you give them something that will last until evening. And this exchange has been happening in this city for hundreds of years, and you are simply the latest person standing on this side of the counter. There is a word the Greeks have, eudaimonia, and it is usually translated as happiness, but it means something more specific. It means the deep satisfaction of doing well what you were made to do. You do not know this word, but you know the feeling. This morning, right now, you are exactly where you are supposed to be. Around the middle of the morning, the rush slows. The early customers have come and gone. The next wave, the midday buyers, has not yet started. There is a gap, maybe an hour, where the bakery is quiet and the work shifts to preparation. Marcus sweeps. You check your flour supply, mentally counting what you have, what you will need. You add wood to the oven to maintain the temperature for the afternoon baking. In this quiet hour, you often think. Today you think about your daughter. She is 8 years old and she has recently decided she will be a baker like you. You have not encouraged this, and you have not discouraged it. You remember being 8 and certain about things. Certainty at 8 is its own kind of gift, and you do not want to take it from her. There will be time later for the world to complicate things. She came to the bakery yesterday afternoon and stood at your side while you shaped the late loaves. Her hands were too small to press the dough properly, but she tried with great seriousness. She made a loaf that was more oval than round and lumpy in the middle. You put it in the oven with the rest. When it came out, she held it with both hands and looked at it as if it were something extraordinary. It was not extraordinary. It was a child's first bread. But the look on her face was. You think about your father. He stood where you stand now for 30 years. He taught you this work. And he died 2 winters ago, quickly, which was a mercy. You still sometimes reach for something and find yourself expecting his hands to have already found it. This is what grief does over time. It becomes small and ordinary and lives in the body the way old injuries do. The bakery is quiet. The fire breathes. Outside, the morning goes on. The mountain stands at the edge of the city the way it always has, familiar as a wall. You do not look at it. You have never had a reason to look at it. Just before midday, something changes. You feel it before you understand it. A tremor, very slight. The flour in the jar trembles. The hanging iron tools along the wall sway once, just once, and go still. You have felt tremors before. This city sits in a place where the ground is restless. The tremors come and go. You have stopped paying attention to them. But then comes the sound. Not close, not from the street or the buildings around you. From above, from far above, a sound that does not belong to anything you know. A deep, compressed crack like stone splitting, and you step to the bakery door, and you look up. The mountain has opened. There is no other way to say it. Where the mountain's peak always stood, there is now something rising, enormous and dark, climbing into the sky with a kind of terrible patience. It does not rush, and it simply rises. The column of black and gray reaches up and up, impossibly high, higher than clouds, higher than anything you have ever seen. The street around you has gone silent. People have stopped. The woman with the cart of figs, the two boys who were chasing each other, the soldier from the garrison. Everyone has stopped, and everyone is looking at the same thing, and there is a silence that you have never heard before in this city, a total silence, as if the city itself is holding its breath. Then the first stone falls, small, the size of your fist. It hits the paving stones 3 feet from where you stand, and you feel the impact in your feet. Then another, then more. They are coming from the column above, these stones, falling like hail, made of rock. Marcus appears at your shoulder. "What do we do?" he asks. You have spent 20 years learning to do the right thing at the right moment. Your hands know bread. Your body knows fire. But for this, you have no knowledge. For this, there is no teacher. There is only the next decision, made now, with what you have. You look at the mountain. You look at the street. You look at Marcus. "Run," you say. "Run toward the harbor. Don't stop. Don't come back." The city moves like a river breaking its banks. People pour into the streets from every doorway. Some run toward the harbor. Some run deeper into the city, toward their homes, toward their families. Some stand and do not move at all, staring upward at the column that now blots out the sun. The sky above Pompeii is no longer blue. It is yellow and gray and wrong. You move through it. The stones fall thicker now. And people have begun pulling cloth over their heads, holding anything flat above them. You take a piece of canvas from outside a stall and hold it over you as you push through the crowd. The stones rattle against it like hail. You are thinking about your wife, about your daughter. Your house is 2 streets over. Between you and it, the crowd presses in every direction. A man runs into you and does not stop. An old woman has sat down in the middle of the street and will not move. You try to help her up. She shakes her head. You cannot carry her and reach your family too. You press on. You know this city. You have walked these streets for 40 years. But the streets are filling with ash now. Thin gray powder settling over everything. Over the stones, over the carts, over the people. And in the dim, strange light, everything looks like something else. You turn a corner, and for a moment you do not recognize where you are. Then you do. You run. Your wife is at the door when you reach the house. Your daughter is behind her, holding her mother's tunic with both hands. Your wife looks at you, and something in her face releases. "The harbor," you say. She nods once. She already has a bundle under her arm. She has been ready. She has always been more ready than you for the difficult things. 20 years of bread, the flour on your hands, the oven that never fully goes cold, your father's trough, the groove in the doorstep, all of it, still there, 2 streets away. You will not go back. You already know you will not go back, but you carry it. You carry all of it. The harbor is chaos and the sea is wrong. The water has pulled back from the shore. retreating as if frightened. The boats that were docked now sit tilted on the exposed sea floor, strange and stranded. People crowd the docks anyway, pressing forward, calling for boats, calling for help. The sky above is dark and ash falls like gray snow, steady and constant. You hold your daughter's hand. Your wife holds her other hand. You move through the crowd together, the three of you, and you do not let go. You have not let go since you left the house. There are boats. Not enough boats. Men are arguing over them. A family with small children is helped aboard by people they do not know. You push forward. You do not push hard because there are old people and frightened people around you. But you push steadily. Your daughter does not cry.
She is watching everything with very large eyes, and you wish she were not seeing this, and you are grateful she is here with you, and these two things are both true at once. You find a boat, a fisherman, someone you have seen at the market, someone whose face you know. He looks at you and looks at your daughter and says nothing, just makes room. You get your daughter in first, then your wife, then you step over the side and the boat dips under your weight and the fisherman is already rowing, hard. You look back once. The mountain is no longer a mountain. It is a source of darkness, a column of gray and black that reaches higher than you can see. The city below it is disappearing, street by street, building by building. The gray is swallowing Pompeii. You turn away. Your daughter has pressed herself against your side. You put your arm around her and hold her close and watch the water, and the fisherman rows and does not stop rowing. You left the oven burning. You left the last loaves in the trough. You left the tools hung on the wall and the flour in the jars and the door with its creaking hinge. You left everything except the three things that could come with you. This is what it means to know what matters. The water carries you forward. Behind you, the city breathes its last. Ahead of you, the sea is open and cold, and going somewhere else. You do not go back. You settle in a town to the north, a smaller town, quieter. There are other Pompeii survivors there. You find each other the way people find each other after a catastrophe, by the same look in the eyes, the same pause when someone asks where you are from. You find a bakery. There's an old man who wants to retire. His ovens are different from yours. His flour comes from a different mill. The street outside his door does not have the same smell as the street you grew up on. Nothing is the same. You start anyway. You wake before the sun. The stone floor meets your feet, and the cold moves through you. Your hands find the flour by habit. The dough pushes back. The oven takes the loaves. The bread comes out. It is not the same bread. It will never be the same bread, but it is bread. Your daughter turns 9 that winter. She stands at your side in the new bakery and shapes a loaf with her small hands. She is getting better at it. The loaf is round this time, almost properly round, and when it comes out of the oven, she holds it with the same look she always has, as if it is something extraordinary. It is bread, but she made it. That is extraordinary. You carry Pompeii with you. You will carry it your entire life. The smell of the street before dawn, the sound of the oven, the groove in the doorstep. You cannot go back to these things, but they do not leave you. The things we love best become part of us in a way that does not depend on their continued existence. They live where loss cannot reach them. Every morning, you open the new door. The hinge here does not sing. It opens smoothly, quietly, without ceremony. You are still getting used to it. Maybe you will never get used to it. That is all right. You open it anyway. The historians will write about Pompeii. They will write about the mountain and the fire and the ash. They will write about the things found buried and preserved. The paintings, the streets, the forum, the bodies frozen in their last moments. One of them will find a bakery. Will find the remains of bread still in the ovens. 81 loaves they will count, still in the shape they were placed, preserved for 2,000 years by the same ash that took everything else. They will not know whose bakery it was.
They will not know whose hands shaped those loaves. But the loaves are there. They are there because a baker woke before the sun on the morning of August 24th, 79 AD, put his feet on a cold stone floor, walked to his bakery, built his fire, mixed his flour and water, shaped his dough, and placed his bread in the oven. And because this is what he did every morning, because this is what he was. The bread outlasted the mountain. The bread outlasted the city. The bread is still there, right now, 2,000 years after the hands that made it have turned to dust. This is what it means to make something. This is what it means to do your work with care, every day, without needing anyone to watch. You will not remember this day. But it happened. Your hands in the flour, your feet on the cold stone, the hinge singing in the morning silence, the bread rising in the oven. It happened. It was real. And somewhere, in ways you cannot imagine, it is still here. Good night. Sleep well. Tomorrow morning, somewhere, a baker is already awake.